name is Kevin Dicus. I'm an archaeologist at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I specialize in Italy, where I excavated in Pompeii, and I also work in a region known as the Monte della Tolfa, 50 miles north of Rome. My specialty is religion and republic in Italy, and this is a very crucial time when Rome itself is beginning its own empire and first expanding throughout Italy, incorporating and taking over these local populations that were once independent of this city. By looking at the religion and the religious traditions, we can look at continuity of religion, how these indigenous peoples maintain their traditions, and also how they respond to this incursion of the new Roman population. We're in the museum's collections, and I'm going to show you some of the artifacts that belong to this religious tradition. This is known as the ELC religious tradition, the Etruria Laetial Campanian tradition. Now this is typified by terracotta objects that represent body parts, feet, hands, heads, eyes, or internal organs such as the uterus, polyvisceral plaques, hearts. What we think is these deal with the sphere of reproduction and of health. You would dedicate a representation of a body part that had been afflicted that she went cured, or you were giving thanks for a cure that had already happened, or you were requesting fertility or the successful rearing of offspring. We've got some objects here. Some of the more common objects were these heads here. Let's take a look at this one. Heads are what we call the pars pro toto representation. These were parts of the body representing the entire worshiper. And while these aren't very individualized portraits of people, we can still get a great representation of who was dedicating these. We also can get a nice chronology based on the style of these. This one in particular is one of the earliest in the collection. You can tell by the stylized braids running down the side of the face, those eyes that look almost almond-like, and these represent and they recall these earlier archaic sculptural traditions. So we can date this one just by the way it looks from maybe the mid-4th century BCE. All these heads were mold-made, and that allowed them to produce them quickly and cheaply. Now, mold-made heads also followed the same aesthetic traditions that other works of sculpture did. So we can trace, just on the style, the evolution of these votive heads. For instance, this one here, based on the naturalistic rendering of the hair, the facial features, we can say that this one was manufactured probably about the mid-2nd century BCE. Another common votive were the hands. Many of these votives were dedicated by people from rural communities whose lives depended on agriculture and animal husbandry. Hands, of course, were the most important thing, and to have a healthy hands meant survival. To have a hand that was hurt or injured made work more difficult, and so we find one of the most common objects that was dedicated at these sanctuaries to be the hand. These are also mold-made, very quickly done, with lines rendered to make the fingers, and lines also here to represent the palms. One of my favorites, the most common object would be the foot. Now we have, with these feet, a very close connection with the artisan who made this and the object itself. The easiest way to do a foot would be to use a real foot. And so what we have here is an artisan most likely putting a strip of clay on his own foot, creating the mold from his own foot, and then creating these objects from that. We can even see the toes look very much like a regular toe. This is my pinky toe here, very shy, unobtrusive, bent like this. Probably meant his shoes were too small. Probably means mine are too small as well. But we have this a very nice connection with the past with these very real feet. So this is just but a small sampling of the materials that I work with to help me interpret the past. I find it fascinating that we can begin to understand the motivations of these people who lived so long ago by simply handling and interpreting the materials that they themselves used. I thank you guys for watching, and stay healthy.